Ewan McGregor stars in A Gentleman in Moscow on Paramount Plus. Finally got to see the entire season. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, where we talk about all things pop culture. And we're going to talk today about a series that recently released on Paramount Plus, starring Ewan McGregor and his wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But before we get into it, my name is Frank Zenka. I am your host. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And finally got back to filmmaking. I just got back from LA from working on a film with Crispin Glover from Back to the Future and Charlie's Angels fame. Now that the strikes are semi-over, there is another strike pending, so not a whole lot of things have started. So I was glad to get that film. But before we get into it, make sure to give me a like and a subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. And on top of that, if you're a fan of classic monsters or if you're a fan of card games, we did recently launch on BackerKit Mythlords Classic Monsters. Is a deck building game where you're playing as the classic monsters. We have some amazing art by Mark Spears, and the description is in the link below is in the description. The description below has the link in it, and also has a link to we're going to be doing a solo playthrough live on YouTube on Wednesday night. You can also check that link out in the description below. That's what I meant to say. All right, so let's jump into it. Before we do, also, I want to show you what I finally got from Hot Toys here from Sideshow. I thought she finally came out good. I had the other one by WandaVision. This is the one from Doctor Strange. I know a lot of people hated that movie, and I really liked it. This one doesn't have the hand glow, as I don't know why they didn't use the same body from the other one, but I think she looks really, really great. Anyway, I just wanted to show that off. So we'll put her back over here. So anyway, let's jump into A Gentleman in Moscow. So this was a 10-episode season based on a true story and based on a book by Armand Towles. And this has to do with, I guess, the after the revolution that took place in the USSR. So the aristocrats basically were all pushed out, they went totally communistic with Karl Marx and all of his teachings, etc. And Stalin and all that, basically, the whole history of the USSR up to this point. And it focuses on Ewan McGregor's character. So he plays Alexander Rostov, and during his hearing, because everybody else was basically put to death, but there was a pamphlet that he did not write that they thought he wrote that kind of went into the mindset of what they were doing. It was written by one of his friends and attributed to him, and this is what kind of basically saved his life. And so instead of killing him, they exiled him to a hotel. And he had a permanent room in this hotel as well, that he had, he had a mansion, etc., and everything else. But, of course, they took that all over to the point where he had nothing, and exiled to this hotel. And he's like, okay, I'll stay in my room. He had a very luxurious suite and everything like that. And they're like, no, we're going to show you to your room. He's like, no, this is my room. And he's like, not anymore. And they take him up to the top floor that has a hole in the roof. Of course, it's constantly snowing. And yeah, he gets to this little, worker, as if he was a servant, basically, at the hotel. And he has this little teeny room. And that's what he's exiled to, basically, for the rest of his life. If he ever leaves the hotel, then he can be arrested and killed, tortured, etc. And they can basically do anything they want to him. So he ends up accepting his fate and trying to make the best out of it. Again, this is based on a true story. And you hear his voiceover as well, and you're not sure who the voice, it's a female voice, you're not sure which character that is. So he meets a little girl in the hotel that he befriends, and she takes a liking to him. And at the same time, he also meets Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, that is a famous actress at the time, name of Anna Urbanova. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead, for me, is a hit and miss. Her acting sometimes is good, is decent. I would never say she's a great actress. She's not a great actress. But because those two are married, she's been in business for a long time. She was like in the series Wolf Lake, when she was very, very young. Of course, she has a very iconic look. I forgot the name of the comic book where she had the purple hair or something versus the world. I forgot the character's name. But so she was iconic in that. Birds of Prey was she keeps trying to be an action hero, and she's not an action hero. She never will be an action hero. She was also in Death Proof movie as well. She's done a lot of stuff. Cloverfield she was very good in too. So again, she's good. She's never great, but she's good in certain things, and then certain things she's just not good at all. Like she did not know what to do with Hera at all in Ahsoka. She didn't do a great job there. So again, very hit and miss. But I think because of her relationship with her husband, Ewan McGregor, they were able to pull very good performances out of one another, and had the chemistry was there because there was chemistry in real life. So I think it was a good idea. The nepotistic thing, like, the only reason she got Star Wars was because of him, and she probably only got Birds of Prey because of him, because he played the villain in that. So it's very nepotistic with those two. But in this case, I think it was a wise decision because you were able to, because they were a couple in the series, you got a really good performance out of both of them, and you got this, quiet type of love. You were able to get that out of them because it was already there. So in a lot of ways, their relationship works. And their relationship takes place over years where she's basically the one in control because he's stuck there. He's not making any money, whatever. So he has really nothing to offer her. And she's rich. So because she's an actress. And we get to see the downturn of her career as well. So this takes place over many, many years. And the little girl, we see her grow up, and then she basically leaves her daughter with him. And then we see that daughter grow up. So it's almost like two generations during the course of this series, and it's very, very interesting. And we also get to see the growth of not only him, because then he ends up starting to work at the restaurant, at the hotel, in the restaurant, and he already had a lot of respect from the staff of the hotel because he treated them very well, and now he was one of them. And I think they took they took him under their wing, and it was very good to see that. And some of the lines are very poignant. Showrunner of this had never showrun before. He's written for TV, and then he had two directors from stuff that he had written for in the past. I guess he brought on. So it was only two directors during this entire season. And but I think he did a good job. He didn't write all of it, but he wrote a large percentage. I think he wrote half of the season. So I like how they kind of delved into life and making the most out of a very bad situation, and having a circle of friends around you that you can trust and that have your back. All that stuff is very, very good. And you would think that everything taking place in a hotel would get boring, but because the fact that they pump up time throughout these 10 issues, it does keep everything moving. And the fact that it does take place all in a hotel they were able to get the cost of the show down, because again there were very, very few locations. A lot of it takes place in the restaurant, a lot of it takes place in the lobby, the manager's office, and of course in his room. And then he finds like a secret door in his room where the two wardrobes connect, and there's no wall between them, so he's able to go from one wardrobe to the other. And these are all things he learns because he's stuck there. Of course, he's going to find things out that people hadn't really even noticed or was able to explore. And then his relationship with the two little girls that then grow up is also very good. Plus, you see, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character being very standoffish towards him. He's just a boy toy for her until their relationship and their feelings towards one another continue to grow to the point where they become a family. And I think that's all really, really great stuff. In fact, there's a speech that he gives towards the end, and I'm not going to really give away any spoilers here because there's a lot of twists and turns here, and a lot of alterations in the characters as time goes on. Even the little girls change, their attitudes and everything else as they go. Are they buying into the communistic thing? Are they not? And he tells a story about a black apple that I thought was very interesting. And I guess it was Russian lore that if you ate the apple, then you can do your life over again. And he says, I wouldn't do it over again because of everybody here. And he's at a dinner with all of the staff from the hotel, who had become his family. And I really respect that. I really respect how they wrote it. And also there was a painting of his sister, and his sister died. And he was never going to give this thing up. And it showed a dichotomy of the fact that he has a new family and letting the old family go. So there was a lot of stuff. And then Osip was the guy that was over him. He was worked for the government, and he slowly becomes friends, standoffish friends, with Alexander. And as they grow older, they rely on one another, even though they're always at odds with one another. But they have a mutual respect that then they lean on later on in the series. So again, there's all that growth throughout the series that it's definitely worth checking out. So I definitely recommend it. And if you're a fan of history, and if you're a fan of, I don't want to say Downton Abbey, but there are some similarities to this and Downton Abbey, except now we're in Russia, and there's always this this threat hanging over everything about what's going to happen with the government, what's going to happen to all these people. Now that if the leaders change, what happens to everyone that was loyal to the old leaders? Their whole way of life was changed. And also, if you're looking at what's happening in our political atmosphere right now, you can see similarities to what happened in Russia for sure. Taking away, speech, misinformation, all these things that you keep hearing in the media now, things that they were saying in Russia back in the day. So anyway, it's very, very interesting, and I definitely suggest watch it. On a scale from 1 to 10, I definitely give this thing an 8. It's not something I'm going to watch over again, but I know that's how I kind of think, how I kind of rate things. However, I don't usually watch shows over again anyway. I think 24 and Hawkeye were the only two things I watched over again. But I definitely suggest checking it out if you're a fan of any of those things, or a fan of Ewan McGregor. And again, it's good to see him and his wife work well together, and kind of pull off these kind of obscure characters. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Remember to give me a thumbs up, and Make sure that you click that bell, ding ding, and subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. Remember that the description below has our link to Mythlords on BackerKit. We are fully funded, so anything from now on, you don't have to worry about if it's going to get fulfilled if you put your money in, because we're already past our goal. So this is the back where you're playing as the different monsters, etc. And then if you are a fan, it's a deck building game, so it's not hard to learn. And this is also an expansion here where it's the Dark Oz, Dark Wizard of Oz. So if you're a fan of Wizard of Oz, you can play as the Wicked Witch or Dorothy. And then, of course, you're recruiting other cards. That's what a deck builder basically is. So you're recruiting like the Tin Man or the other Wicked Witch of the West or Glinda. They're all in there. Flying monkeys, all that stuff. And the artwork is phenomenal. Anyway, check it out. There's also a video on the page where it shows you how to play and gives you a little animation and stuff like that. It's awesome stuff. Anyway, check out some other videos. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next episode.